I wanted to have this glimpse of hope, this glimpse of intelligence, this glimpse of courageousness, of savvy, of no longer cowardice. I wanted to give a couple of illustrations of strength. And you know what? Maybe it's time we start recognizing and realizing. Many times the people who lead the charge against the most corrupt in our country tend to be black women. One reporter in the gaggle, who's probably never going to be invited back, decided to stop kowtowing to Donald Trump's bullying.
Going into New York too,
Mr. President,
and we're going to be going in quiet. You're really obnoxious.
I'm not obnoxious, but I'm trying to ask you, what about your plans
You are
for
really
Memphis?
obnoxious.
I'm not obnoxious, but I
Okay.
am asking, what are your
Okay.
plans for Memphis? Many people want
I'm
to
not going to talk to you until I call on you.
What are your plans
So,
for Memphis?
who
Mr.
else? Yeah,
President?
go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to.
Did you guys notice? He has his shush, be quiets, and you're obnoxious. And if you keep talking and don't respect the guy who doesn't respect anybody else, he has nothing else. Did you notice that? I want you guys to watch it again. Did you notice? Watch how he then folds and he can't do anything about it because he's weak.
Mr. President,
And we're going to be
Mr.
going in quiet. You're really obnoxious.
I'm not obnoxious, but I'm trying to ask you, what about your plans
You are
for
really
Memphis?
obnoxious.
I'm not obnoxious, but I
Okay.
am asking, what are your
Okay.
plans for Memphis? Many people want
I'm
to
not going to talk to you until I call on you.
What are your plans for
So,
Memphis?
who else?
It ends up illustrating just how he is and how he can't handle any kind of actual pushback. All these folks are afraid of losing their access. And then he keeps threatening them with that type of stuff. And then they run away or they go back to kissing his ass. This is how he expects to approach other folks. Because look, again, she pushed back, just asking about his plans to sending troops into Memphis, like he keeps talking about. But this is an NPR reporter on, again, on, I believe, Air Force One, talking to him. And look at how she says nothing. But this is how his approach is just because of where she's from.
Regarding Antifa, what you posted. NPR, sir. When regarding
Are they still here?
we are.
Are they still here? Oh, good. Congratulations.
Regarding designating them a terrorist organization, when they don't have defined leadership or membership, how do you target them?
Who does it?
Antifa.
We're going to find out, right? We're going to see. People have been talking about it for a long time. We're going to see. Did they have anything to do with your network? Okay. Well, we're going to find out.
Dude was confused. You see him have that spinning head? NPR. You guys aren't supposed to be here. I thought I eliminated normal news organizations. I thought I only have a bunch of water-carrying minions surrounding me. I thought I only have people that are afraid of the threats that I keep tossing at them that are supposed to ask me questions because I'm so very weak. All she said was, you identified that Antifa is this terrorist organization. You're going to start going after them. What does that mean? He can't answer that question because all he's going to use it for is anytime he sees someone he doesn't like he discovered in that reporter right there and said, how close are you guys affiliated to Antifa? It exposed so many things in 40 seconds. It was very straightforward. I can't answer questions from a news organization that I haven't already put in place. And number two, when they ask me about Antifa, I have to then threaten this reporter and say, well, we determined them a terrorist organization. We're going to find out if you're connected to them enough that I can then attack you for being here. Let me show you guys some more actual strength and intelligence that pushes back against the extreme idiocy of this White House. Jasmine Crockett pointed out this guy's connection and his addiction to silencing any kind of opposition or dissent because he's completely un-American. Jasmine Crockett goes off.
This particular president has decided that he wants to shake down people as relates to the First Amendment because he has filed not one lawsuit, not two lawsuits, but he has filed numerous lawsuits. He filed a lawsuit against the New York Times. He filed one against the Wall Street Journal, against CBS, against ABC, against the Des Moines Register. He is doing all of this because he wants to quash any speech that is not appreciative or lauding him, which is pretty much anything that's factual. So let's talk a few facts about these January 6 felons that should still be incarcerated because they went through the process, but because they were doing different things on his behalf. Of course, he wanted to let them go. So they released more than 1,000 people who participated in the insurrection on this government, many of whom had previous criminal records, like Mr. Theodore Mendenforth, who was convicted of predatory criminal sexual assault of a child, or Mr. Peter Schwartz, who had 38 prior convictions, including one where he beat his wife by repeatedly punching and biting her. Trump also pardoned Mr. David Daniel, who was convicted of production and possession of child pornography. Trump also pardoned Mr. Daniel Ball, who, quote, threw an explosive device that detonated upon at least 25 officers during the Capitol riot. He also had a record for, quote, domestic violence by strangulation. I'm not done. Trump also pardoned Mr. Andrew Taki, who sent nudes to an undercover law enforcement officer who was posing as a 15-year-old girl. Mr. Casey Hopkins also received a pardon from Trump, and Mr. Hopkins was convicted of forcible rape. According to court records, he, quote, had forcible intercourse with the victim, choked her to the point of impairing her vision, banged her head into a wall, and urinated into the victim's mouth as he humiliated her. These are the people that he decided to release in the streets of D.C. So if anybody does need to clean up D.C., I would agree it is this man, because he is the one that is causing half the crime that we have. Not only is he participating in the crime, but we know that he instigated the insurrection. And if I did say that I had one issue with the Biden-Harris administration, it is the fact that they did not move forward and make sure that this man was put where he should have been put. Because the last time I checked as a criminal defense attorney, and Mr. Attorney General, you may have a different experience, but I never had a defendant that had 34 convictions for felonies and did not spend one day in jail. Never in my life. And the last time I checked, the party of law and order is the only one that decided that they would be out of order and decided to nominate someone who was not only indicted, but was actually convicted of multiple felonies. That has never happened in this country, and it is a shame that we are dealing with it now, and now he wants to tell y'all how to do your jobs.
Okay.
Painted that picture. That's why he's afraid of black women. That's why he's afraid of intelligent black women. That's why his only answer is quiet, shut up, obnoxious. Because when someone actually lays out the case of what he's doing, where it starts, the middle, and in the end, just in this one aspect of him trying to silence people and talking about crime all over the place, it's impossible to argue against that. Is it not what's happening? But he's upset because these are the types of folks that are unwilling to be like, oh, I'm sorry, Mr. President. Sorry, I need to respect you, even though you don't respect my humanity. It's insane. And those folks, there's plenty like that, but they continue to keep them out of the public eye, to keep them from in front of the president, because it'll embarrass his dumb ass. He doesn't have anything to offer in this fight, in this debate, over actual topics that he knows nothing about. It exposes his extreme and utter stupidity. So he's got people like Nancy Mace that are there to back him up and continue to try to supplement his stupidity with more attacks on the people that they dislike. Nancy Mace tried to censure and force a vote to censor Ilhan Omar for her words about Charlie Kirk and who he really was. Did you guys hear, though? Nancy Mace, she failed. GOP Representative Nancy Mace and Corey Mills, he's another Republican, are locked in an escalating personal clash over Mace's failed effort to censor Ilhan Omar for her response to the killing of activist Charlie Kirk. Mills was one of 4 Republicans to join all Democrats to kill Mace's censure measure, which fell just 1 vote short of passing. So she's upset at, any of the 4 that joined on for normalcy and allowing people to say the things that they get to say. The Floridian cited First Amendment issues for his vote, prompting Mace to then accuse Mills and other Republicans of stifling free speech by opposing her effort. In an exchange with Mills on X, she also claimed that the Florida Republican threatened her by text message on Wednesday evening. Now, Mills, by the way, is the guy who was got caught up in that drama. He was up on some kind of like nefarious, accusations about things that he did as far as being intimidating towards someone. So she brought up intimidation there, since that's where he's already made a name for himself. Here's more of this failure that she had. He said, "This is typical. I'm sorry, but I respect Nancy. I like Nancy. I've always supported Nancy," is what he said. But she's upset that she didn't get one thing passed because she has some back and forth with Ilhan that has nothing to do with me. So that was his explanation, but she's so very upset about it. So lastly, this is what It shows so much of their, their weird relationship that they have with Donald Trump. After this whole thing went down, Mace said after the Wednesday vote that the GOP opposition was really gross and very disappointing. Also, this is the best part. A reporter also overheard her telling a colleague that she had sent the 4 Republicans' names to President Trump. Nancy Mace tries to censure Ilhan Omar for telling the truth. After failing to do that because 4 Republicans didn't join her in that censure, she sent their names to Donald Trump like a tattling toddler. Because, I'm going to tell daddy about you. And you know what he's going to do? He's going to start posting about how much you're a meanie. This is the Republican Party. These is leadership. These are people that are supposed to be representing Americans. And she's over here sending 4 names of fellow Republicans that she thinks are supposed to stay in line. And when they don't, you tattle on them so that they can then be afraid to then get back in line. Again, let me point out the type of person who doesn't get back in line. I love this from Ilhan Omar because they keep asking her these questions as if she's the one that's in the wrong here. And she refuses to bow down to this bull.
What I find jarring is that there are so many people willing to excuse the most reprehensible things that he said, that they agree with that they're willing to have monuments for him, that they want to create a day to honor him, and that they want to produce resolutions in the House of Congress honoring his life and legacy. It is one thing to care about his life because obviously so many people loved him, including his children and wife. But I am not going to sit here and be judged for not wanting to honor any legacy this man has left behind. That should be in the dustbin of history, and we should hopefully move on and forget the hate that he spewed every single day.
You're not going to silence people that have the actual facts and reality on their side. Many people do, but they get afraid to continue to tell it. And the more people give away that power, the more power you give to weak, soft-ass people like Donald Trump. He's weak. He bows. He falls apart because he doesn't have an argument. Stick with yours. Stop giving it away. It's obvious he's unequipped to actually win these discussions. That's why they get violent. Violence comes from these folks because they don't have the brains. There's one more clip from Ilhan Omar where she points out, and you can really see in her voice, in her face, the way that this is affecting her. And we shouldn't always just say, here, let them take it.
You've been attacked by the president, by a colleague whose office is right next door to yours, Congresswoman Nancy Mace. I know that you have received messages and voicemails from people threatening you. How are you holding up first?
I've been here before. I've been the target of the president in the most vile, bigoted, racist ways that you could imagine. And I've had to have full police detail because of that. So it is surprising that he's back at it because I thought he's moved on and found a new person to harass. But here's, a president that is always unhinged, always strange, always creating chaos and division. And he seems to have a real obsession with anyone that is an immigrant in this country that is not of European descent. You don't hear him talking about the accent of his wife and the fact that she came here as an immigrant or any of those things, or the fact that she gets to have an opinion even though nobody elected her into office. But he has an objection to a person who does serve over 700,000 constituents in Congress, who's literally elected, has the same certificate as he does. But I think for me is I feel embarrassed for him because in these attacks, what he does, and I think with the likes of Nancy Mace, and whoever that Randy guy is, they expose themselves for how stupid they are. And that is embarrassing for us as a country because these are people who are elected to positions of leadership. He's supposed to be the president of the United States, who's heading off to Europe to represent us. When he does, he's uneducated enough to understand that members of Congress can't be impeached. When you have Nancy and Randy saying, we're on it, we're going to impeach her. When they're saying they're going to deport me, knowing full well that you cannot deport an American citizen. What that displays for not just Americans, but folks on on an international platform is that our country is being led by idiots. And that is not something that we should be comfortable with as Americans, and that's not something that should make us proud. And so in this moment, I feel great sadness as an American that these are the kind of people that the world gets to see representing us.